What happens when a country starts pulling its own security guards off duty? In a tense Homeland Security exchange, Eric Swalwell warns that firing agents, releasing violent offenders, and exposing sensitive data could leave Americans more vulnerable than ever. The real question he raises is simple but serious. Are we actually safer right now?
Mr. Chairman. This committee was stood up to address threats to the homeland after September 11th, something my colleague to the right knows a lot about, being here since its inception. And today I just want to briefly address the question as to whether we are safe today as a country. Because what I'm seeing from this administration is that we are taking our eye off the ball. We had a terrorist attack in New Orleans to start the year. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, other terrorist organizations want to hit us and hit us hard. We've got the Super Bowl this weekend back in New Orleans. We have the World Cup in 2026, and we have the Olympics in 2028 in the United States. There are a lot of prime national security targets. However, what we are seeing are actions from this administration that do not make us safe. The most basic job of government is for people to feel safe. So when President Trump releases 1,600 violent criminals into our communities, people who brutally attack police officers, we should not be surprised that they're already committing crimes. One of them, just last week in Indiana, was pulled over by a police officer and, shocking, didn't want to obey that officer's orders, fought the cop, tried to use his own gun on the cop, and thankfully the cop shot and took that individual down. Others are committing acts of child pornography who have already been released. So are we safe when 1,600 violent individuals are released into the community? No, we are not safe. President Trump is seeking to fire thousands of FBI agents and has already fired many senior officials. Why? Because these individuals happen to work on cases that he was involved with, where he was accused of stealing national security secrets and leading a coup against his own government. These federal agents keep their head down and they go where they're assigned. It's not a fantasy football draft. They don't get to pick the cases that they work on. They just do their job and they follow the evidence. But what happens when you take thousands of FBI agents out of the Hoover building? They don't work on terrorism, they don't work on child trafficking, they don't work on public corruption, they don't work on violent crime. So are we safe when we take thousands of cops off the beat to protect us from terrorism? No, we are not safe. The president is seeking to force resignations at the Central Intelligence Agency. These are the best spies in the world who have spent years developing foreign languages, are assigned all over the world, have taken years to train to get necessary experience, and they'll be taken off the beat to find the threats that face us as a country. Are we safe when they are not on their watch? No, we are not safe. And as we speak, Elon Musk, who no one elected, no one asked for, is at the Department of Treasury with a cyber gang with access to every American's tax returns and personal identifying information. So speaking of cyber vulnerabilities, are we safe when unvetted individuals have access to your most precious data, information about your employer, your health care, your social security number? No, we are not safe. Our job is to make the American people safer. And Mr. Steyer, if we gut and take off the beat the individuals who are supposed to work at CISA and monitor international cyber attacks against our local businesses, does that make us more able to respond to a cyber attack and protect Americans' data, or less able?
Congressman, as we've covered already, workforces are not improved in terms of their capacity to do their job if they are in crisis, and we have a federal workforce that is in crisis right now. On the issue of cyber issues, it puts us certainly at greater risk, both with respect to the specific cyber talent and more generally the workforce at large. So easy answer is this is not enabling our government to do its job in the way that the civil servants who are there would like to do it.
Great. And I'm all for getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. I support any efforts to do that. But when it comes to national security, we better be pretty damn careful about where we make cuts, because my promise to you is we will be hit if we take our eye off the ball. And I yield back.
This moment is less about partisan disagreement and more about how a nation defines security in a rapidly changing world. Swalwell's argument centers on a simple but powerful idea. National safety is not just built through laws or speeches, but through people, trained agents, intelligence officers, cybersecurity experts, and investigators, whose daily work often goes unseen. When those systems are disrupted, even in the name of reform or efficiency, the consequences can extend far beyond Washington and into everyday life. What makes this exchange especially significant is the timing. The United States is preparing to host globally visible events that naturally attract attention, not only from tourists and fans, but also from actors who may wish to cause harm or disruption. History has shown that large public gatherings require extraordinary coordination across law enforcement and intelligence communities. Any reduction in experienced staffing or institutional knowledge raises real questions about preparedness, response time, and prevention. There is also a deeper institutional question underneath the political rhetoric. Democracies constantly wrestle with how to reform government without weakening it. Efforts to remove waste or misconduct are widely supported in principle, yet the process of restructuring security agencies carries unique risks because failures in this space are measured not in budgets, but in human safety. That tension between accountability and capability is at the heart of what viewers are witnessing here. Cybersecurity adds another modern layer to the discussion. Unlike traditional threats, cyber vulnerabilities are invisible until damage is already done. Access to sensitive financial and personal data is not just a privacy issue, it is a national security concern in an era where digital infrastructure underpins everything from banking to healthcare. The warning being raised is ultimately about resilience. Whether the country's protective systems remain strong enough to handle both physical and digital threats at the same time. Moments like this matter because they force a broader public conversation. Security is often discussed only after something goes wrong, but hearings like this attempt to confront risks before they become crises. Regardless of political perspective, the underlying issue affects everyone. How to keep a nation both accountable and safe without sacrificing one for the other. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Conversations like this are how informed citizens stay engaged with the decisions shaping national security and the future of public safety.